Atari has had many great accomplishments like Pong, becoming one of the fastest growing companies in history and playing a key role in creating the golden age of arcade games like Asteroids. However, one of the more interesting people to come from Atari, and there were a few, is employee number 40, Steve Jobs. The year was 1974, and that was the year of the first time an American president resigned from office. Hank Aaron became the first baseball player to top Babe Ruth's home run record. People magazine also first to launch in 1974. But it was in the Atari office of Los Gatos, California, where Al Alcorn, the Atari Pong engineer, first laid eyes on the dirty, bearded college dropout, Steve Jobs. Mr. Alcorn was convinced to come out of his office and meet Steve Jobs in the lobby by office manager Penny Chapler, who stated that this kid really had something or he was a crackpot. Al Alcorn didn't care about beards, bass, or beyond, as Atari was a company known for no dress codes, and what you did in your own time, that was your own business. Atari was looking for the next big thing, and in that period of time, it didn't matter how you got the results. When Mr. Alcorn interviewed Steve, it became clear he did not have the qualifications for the job, but what Steve did have was a way with words and passion for technology, and Al stated he could hire him for a cheap price. And just like that, Steve Jobs became employee number 40. Steve started out as a technician tweaking circuit boards. One of the first boards he did was a failure of a game called Touch Me. A man by the name of Ralph Baer ended up taking that concept of this game and turning it into the popular game Simon. Steve worked on other projects and was brilliant and aggressive, and also in today's terms would be considered toxic, making him just about impossible to work with. Instead of letting Steve go, Atari created a new night shift schedule, and he was the only one working, so this solved the toxic work environment. This only lasted a few months. Steve Jobs decides to quit Atari and go on a spiritual quest in India. Although there's not a lot of information about this quest, Steve did return to California with a shaved head, robes, and an illness that could not be cured in India. He also returned to Atari, and Atari needed him as they were in trouble, as most of the engineers left Atari and was working for the competition. The different versions of Pong were no longer selling. Atari had created the game Breakout, but the issue was the amount of microchips that were used to make the game. There were way too many, and to mass produce it would be too expensive. Atari put the challenge out to the engineers of $100 for every chip removed and a bonus if it fell below a certain number of chips. Steve won the rights to complete the project. Keep in mind, Steve Jobs was a good technician and he had a silver tongue, but an engineer he was not. But his good friend Steve Wozniak was, and he was employed at Hewlett-Packard. This is where the story gets a little fuzzy, but Jobs convinced Wozniak to work on the game during his work hours at Hewlett-Packard, and at night come in the back door of Atari and they would work together testing. Jobs agreed to split the bonus money when done. Jobs told Wozniak the amount they would split was $700, and he made good on that promise and paid Wozniak $350. What Steve Jobs did not tell Wozniak is he took all the credit. There was no time limit as Jobs had set one for Wozniak to complete the task, and the actual bonus was around $5,000. While all of this was going on, the two Steves were working in their off time on creating the personal computer. Al Alcorn even helped with parts for the new computer. When completed, Steve Jobs offered the computer to Atari, and Atari said it would never make money. And with that, the Apple computer was born. Thanks for watching, and as always, I hope to see you on the leaderboards.